You are listening to KELP El Paso. Feed your mind, feed your soul at 1590 AM, 95.9 FM. Streaming worldwide at KELPradio.com.
915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media. You can visit desertvoice.media to learn more.
915 TALK.
The world is looking at El Paso.
What will we say to the world? From the KELP studio in El Paso, this is 915 Talk.
And now your host.
Good afternoon, beautiful citizens of the borderland. This is 915 Talk, and I'm your host, Andy Freck. Today we are broadcasting from the heart of the world's largest borderplex. We're here at the KELP studio in El Paso, and we have today Mac Daddy Del Norte on the board. Mac Daddy, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty good, Andy. How about yourself?
Well, you know, I'm full of holiday cheer.
Oh, nice.
It is the most wonderful time of the year.
It is. It is.
Yeah, you know, we just had Thanksgiving.
We did.
And soon we are going to celebrate the incarnation. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen His glory. Jesus came to earth and gave His life for us.
That's right.
And it's going to be great.
It is.
Yeah,
it already is great.
Yeah, all those special church programs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Looking forward.
Yeah, getting together with a family.
Yep.
And I don't know if we should talk about this on air, Mac Daddy Del Norte.
Okay, what's that?
But the food.
Oh.
Oh, the food.
The delicious food.
Yeah, right? Because here's the thing, Mac Daddy Del Norte.
Okay.
It's December, right?
Right.
And so occasionally in the fridge, I find a piece of pecan pie.
Delicious.
Pecan pie with some whipped cream on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many
or
calories?
ice cream. Have you ever had the pecan pie with pecan ice cream?
No.
A scoop on top.
Of pecan ice cream on top of the
pecan cake.
Okay, so okay, hold on. Then what do you like to wash down your pecan pie with? What beverage?
Oh, don't get me started, bro. Eggnog.
Eggnog. Okay, perfect. All right. So, how many calories do you think are in one piece of pecan pie, according to Google?
About 380.
Okay, you're not too far off. According to Google, it's 503.
Yeah.
1/8 of, I don't know, 122 grams. I don't know what's going on here.
Okay.
We're just going to go with 500.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Then one glass of eggnog is...
that's probably probably more than the pie.
So
like
one
600.
Cup, yeah, 1 cup is 223 calories.
Okay, I got it all backwards.
All right?
All right.
Okay,
all right.
then a scoop of...
pecan ice cream?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't mean to ruin your Christmas.
We're surpassing our daily intake already?
Yes, so 300. All right, so we're at 500 plus 300 is 800, 1,000 calories.
1,000 calories.
That little snack that you're doing between your lunch and dinner. That's but it is the most wonderful time of the year.
It is.
And you know why you can do that? Why it's okay?
No, I don't know actually.
Because in January,
we have new resolutions.
You can join a gym.
You know, I'm cheating. I joined the gym this month. Already, I started working out already. I didn't wait.
Planning ahead.
I'm planning ahead.
I like
that
it.
way
okay.
I can have that pie with the scoop on top and some eggnog.
Okay.
And not let my conscience ruin my appetite.
Okay, so we're talking about eating.
Okay.
And we're speaking in parables, Mac Daddy Del Norte.
Yeah.
Because today we're gonna have a financial show.
Okay.
And I think the way we eat around the holidays.
Yes.
In December compared to January.
Oh yeah,
because
I know where you're going with this.
It's similar to our financial habits in December and January. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be talking about today: year of end mistakes and New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
So we're going to have a fun conversation, but I do think it's important to be talking about these things.
Definitely.
And so we have our good friends with us. You said before they came in today, they aren't just friends.
No, they're family.
They're family. They're family. They're here with us today. And I'll do the disclaimer.
Okay.
Nothing in this broadcast is any way to be construed as financial advice. It's for informational purposes only.
That's right.
If you need financial advice, what should you do, MacDaddy Del Norte?
Hire them. Call them up. Just say, hey, guys, I need some financial help.
Yeah, exactly. You need to find someone who understands the
There you go.
specificities of your situation.
Yeah.
So we're not here to replace the job of financial advisor, but you could get in touch with these guys.
Right.
So without further ado, let's give a very warm Borderland welcome to Drew and Jonathan of Truvize Financial Planning. Drew and Jonathan, welcome back. What's your favorite type of pie when it comes to Christmas?
Pecan. I'm with you there. But honestly, so my mom makes pumpkin pie from scratch, buys the pumpkins every year.
Oh, wow.
Roasts them. I don't like pumpkin pie, but that pumpkin pie is different. So that's right up there.
Wow. Okay. So homemade pie.
Wow.
Yeah, because I don't mean to air my family's dirty laundry, but in Thanksgiving, my wife thought that she would not make homemade pie, and she went to a place in town that makes really great pie, and my kids were having none of it. I thought the pie was pretty good. Like, I was okay with it. And I was like, it's great because my wife's happy and I'm still eating pie. But your mom's still making the homemade.
Yep.
Love
Yep,
it.
Those
Love it.
pumpkin pies.
All right, Jonathan, Drew, what's your go-to?
I am actually an apple pie a la mode kind of
Apple.
guy.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep.
Warm up the apple pie, cold scoop of ice cream on top, and a Diet Coke.
I believe it was the President Trump who said he's never seen a skinny person drinking Diet Coke.
Well, case in point with me.
Hey, who knows? We're on the radio. We'll leave that mystery out there for folks.
Right.
But I do love an apple pie with and I just eat way too much and I'm like, I got that exercise bike downstairs. But if you do, how many hours you have to spend on the exercise bike? Just
About 10.
Yeah. But like I said at the beginning of the program, a lot of this has to do with the way we deal with finances.
Yep.
Year end and beginning of the new year, and we kind of talked about this a little bit last time you were here, but just this idea that. I think some of us are surprised that we have to buy Christmas presents each and every December.
That's right.
What are some of the mistakes that we're seeing when it comes to the year end and especially the holidays?
I think what you said is the first big one, acting like you didn't know these expenses were going to come all year.
Right.
And then, so instead of planning for it, it's very much, well, you know what? Future me will deal with that. Let me put it on the credit card and I'll deal with it when it comes around in January.
Right.
So those two things tie in together, but that's one big one for sure.
Sure. Just not really budgeting and understanding that some months have different expenses than other months.
Yep.
All right.
And then not being realistic with how much you're probably going to spend during the season.
Right.
Ties in perfectly with that. So it's not just a failure to plan because
Yeah.
we kind of want to put our heads in the sand and say, oh, I'll deal with it later. And the next thing you know, the holidays are here. But then just not having any kind of structure to what you're going to spend, whether it's per person or so you just spend.
Right.
And usually credit cards and buy now, pay later help feed into that. And you can find yourself in a real pickle come January. So.
Right. And I think part of this, and we've talked about this as well before, just this whole idea of financial planning. There's a lot of, I guess we could say, human psychology involved.
Oh, yeah.
And really we want to be generous to the people around us, the people we love. And so if we can make it work, then let's make it work, even if we end up on a payment plan and we can't make it work right now because we didn't have a planned in advance and all of that. What are some of these things you're seeing as far as like buy now, pay later?
Well, we were talking about it before we went on air of how it now is prevalent in every website, every place that you go and you can buy pretty much anything. You have the option of buy now, pay later, or split this purchase up 6 months, 12 months, no interest. And how just psychologically that makes such a difference for you when you're deciding not just what to buy, but how much you're going to buy, how much you're going to spend. If you're looking at we were talking about golf clubs earlier, and if you're looking at a set of golf clubs and it's $1,200 and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to spend that money.
Right.
But right under it, highlighted, it says $1,200 or $100 a month for 12 months, no interest.
Right.
It immediately just changes the way you look at the expense. You look at it as $100, not as $1,200.
Right.
It says no interest, so you can justify and say, I'm not paying any interest. There's no downside. When the reality is you probably would not have spent that $1,200 if that option wasn't there. So that's what the most dangerous thing is about the buy now, pay later, in my opinion, is making you spend money you wouldn't spend and then making you spend more money than you would normally spend. The second danger of it, Drew was talking about, you could talk about.
Yeah, well, like 40% of people who have buy now, pay later programs that they're paying for miss a late payment or have a late payment or miss a payment at some point during that time period. And, the ramifications of that are late charges, which is pretty much interest. And sometimes even some programs, they'll kick you into, they'll get rid of the 0% interest and then kick you into a plan with interest.
Right.
So not only do you spend more most times than what you would plan to spend, but then people tend to stack these on top of each other because I'm not spending $1,200 because it doesn't feel like your money. That's the whole trap, right?
Right.
It doesn't feel like I'm having to part with the $1,200. So now I've parted with $3,600, but it's $300 a month, and maybe we find a way to justify that, and I'll work an extra shift, or we'll cut back come this time. And this is a very dangerous cycle of financial behavior because it never takes into consideration what could go wrong. And if you don't have an emergency fund or you don't have, then what if something happens and all of a sudden now you got to replace an air conditioner or you got to do some other crazy large expense, and you've already strapped yourself, to your Christmas purchases.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. And when we're talking about 12 months of payments, we're talking next Christmas.
Exactly.
You're still paying off the previous Christmas.
Exactly.
And I think that's what you're saying about stacking the payments on top of each other.
Yep. And it's interesting because I read the statistic that 35% of Americans are still paying for last year's Christmas presents they put on their credit cards, which is similar to buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
So that's a huge chunk of people that haven't recovered from what they spent. And then 75% of Americans are planning to use credit cards and buy now, pay later for this season.
75%.
Yeah.
Not paying cash.
That's right. Over $1 trillion in credit card debt now Americans have.
Sure.
And buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a big
this
industry.
is Christian radio, so I feel like I need to say this. I don't think that's what Jesus had in mind when he came to earth.
Yes.
For 75% of Americans to be putting Christmas gifts on their credit card or buy now, pay later. And I feel like a big part of this is we feel pressure to show love. And this isn't probably a part of financial planning, but I think it's a good question to ask. What are some ways we can show love that don't involve spending money that we don't have?
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's also going back to everybody knows the 5 love languages book, right? And that some people receiving gifts or giving gifts, that is absolutely their love language.
Right.
But there are also a large section of other people that is not necessarily how they love or how they receive love the best. And sometimes it's just spending time with people. Sometimes it's actually listening to people. Sometimes it's helping somebody do something they can't do for themselves that has nothing to do with money. But the problem is in a completely commercialized culture,
right?
When you add in social media, the viewpoint is, if you really loved me, if you really loved these people, you'd buy them all these things.
Right.
And it's very, if you kind of dig deep into it, it's, of course that's the message, because that's how you push the economy into buying the newest and the best. When the reality is, most of the time, by the time you finish paying off that purchase, that thing you bought
Yeah,
is either
right.
broken or not used or forgotten about. So it's really taking the time to look at the things that matter. And yes, it doesn't mean that, all right, we just don't buy gifts, but it also means taking a second look at why you're buying it, and is it really worth it, and is there something else I can do that isn't going to cost this much, or is it going to cost anything?
Yeah. It's interesting just getting to know what people really want and asking them. For my wife, I'm talking about her a lot today, but for Christmas she made it clear that usually she likes one present that's kind of big for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then she wants a bunch of little presents that don't cost a lot, so she can just open up a bunch of presents, and they don't have to be anything crazy. Just it's so that's actually requires a little bit more thought on my part.
Sure.
Like, what's something that won't break the budget, but like several different things that she could open up and just be happy about opening presents.
Yeah, that's actually harder. Yes, for sure.
So I do have to put some thought into it each and every year,
I'll give
starting
you a-
around December 22nd.
I'll give you a tip on that. Have her create a Pinterest page and follow it, and then just put a note in your phone. And throughout the year, she says, "Oh, that's cute," or whatever. Boom, 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 put that in there, and then when you got to, sometimes when you blow it, go to that list, make the purchase.
That's super cool.
So-
Yeah, I think, you talked about the 5 love languages, Jonathan, but just this idea that for some people it might be, hey, for Christmas this year, I want to take you out to lunch.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
quality time.
Yes.
Just all these other things that could be done.
Absolutely.
That we would remember better than that present that we're gonna
yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
possibly part ways with quite quickly
And I think,
regift.
and I think it's yeah, that's true. I think it's also going back to some of the mistakes around the holidays. You can also go to some of the mistakes around just gift giving, period. And sometimes it's a pride thing to not do this, but you get invited to all kinds of birthday parties, all kinds of, and now it's Christmas parties.
Yeah.
But everybody bringing a gift and everybody buying something for all these people, and
Yeah.
if you're in a financial position where that would hurt you to be going to all these things or buying presents for all these people or going
Yeah.
to all the birthdays, it is absolutely okay to tell someone that you either can't go or that you just aren't able to buy a present this year for whatever reason.
Yeah.
The reality is, if more people were just honest about that,
Yeah.
then they would kind of remove. But right now there's a stigma of, oh well, I have to go, I have to buy the present. No, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's some Dave Ramsey talks about a lot of, not necessarily, you don't have to spend the money just because somebody had some pressure for you to spend the money.
Yeah.
And so there is some discipline there.
Yeah.
But right now, it's December 8th. We're coming up on a lot of these parties. Take that as some green light for some people out there listening to say it's okay to say you can't go, or you can go, but you're not going to be bringing a present.
Or it's not a competition to have the most amazing present.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, and I think that's a huge part of what plays into this time of year is our culture in America, and we have to push back on that as Christians. We're not called to be crazy consumers and over consumers, and
Yeah.
and we're certainly not called to define ourselves by the gifts we give, or in fact, that's everything that Jesus taught against
Yeah.
in the New Testament. So
Right.
instead, I think it is a good opportunity, not to be a Scrooge, but just to reflect on what is lasting and what's important, and have those conversations with your loved ones. And there's nothing wrong with keeping things simple. And if you have kids, especially small children, that's a great lesson for them to learn.
Yeah.
And we need to look different than the world. And this
Yeah.
is a great opportunity during this time of year when we're celebrating Christ where we do that. So.
Yeah, amen. And I'm reminded of a statistic I saw recently that I won't remember exactly, but most people who are in debt and they're middle-aged people who are in debt, it's because they could not say no to their children. And this is a good time of year for us to remember that. And maybe it's, instead of so many presents. It's some special family time together.
Yeah.
That will also cost some money, but not quite as much as having a huge mountain of toys
Absolutely.
under the tree. So I believe these conversations are important. If you're just joining us, we're with Jonathan and Drew of Truvize Financial Planning. Always appreciate having you guys in, having these conversations. We do need to take a break. Now, normally during this break, I remind everyone about Desert Voice Media and all of that. But since we're talking about Christmas presents, I'm going to talk about a couple of our KELP radio impact partners. And one of them is where my wife and I actually get a lot of our Christmas presents, and that's Rio Grande Auctions. And the website is riograndeauctions.com. You can go in there. They have all kinds of things and really, really incredible prices. I sort of don't want everyone to know just because I'm on their bidding this time of year, and I don't want anyone bidding against me. But they have a Christmas tree in here. It's currently, the bid is $22. It's a nice size Christmas tree. Movie theater projector bundle. So a lot of tools, some really nice name brand hiking boots, et cetera, et cetera. Rio Grande Auctions.com. Also, another one that is similar is Black Fridays. Black Fridays is a store. They're around town. They're on the west side on Rimcon. They're also there's a new one on Zaraplex on Zaragoza. So 4 locations around town. And you can go to blackfridaysstores.com. They have some incredible deals throughout the week. The price goes down. Friday's $17, and it goes each day down to Wednesday, where it's $1.29. And anyway, those are 2 places where if you're looking for something that's where you have to show up, it's something new, and it's a great price, and you're helping one of KELP's impact partners, blackfridaysstores.com, riograndeauctions.com.
Awesome.
So love both of those places, and I didn't see any Lego sets on riograndeauctions.com this year, but that we got some really great deals on some Lego sets in years past for our boys, and they really enjoyed them. So anyway, that seemed to make sense to talk about right now. So again, we're with Jonathan and Drew of Truvize Financial Planning. We're talking about year-end mistakes, and then we're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions. We're going to go into a break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. That's right. It's people just like you who make this program possible. Together with Desert Voice, you can learn how to better serve our neighbors and pray for our community. To become a Desert Voice Media partner, you can visit desertvoice.media. That's right. That's the website, desertvoice.media. Take a look and join us today in reaching our borderland for Christ.
What an incredible year. We're looking back on 2025 with a grateful heart and an eye for a wonderful 2026. Together, we've seen Cornerstone Broadcasting expand into more of the borderland with new local programming, a more broad listener base, and new technology to serve you even better. How? Well, it's your generous giving that's been the key. Your love for this ministry and our neighbors keeps God's message alive and vibrant. We're winding down 2025, and as we do, would you remember us in your end-of-year giving plans? It'll make a big difference in keeping local Christian programming on the air, and we're continually updating behind the scenes to bring you the best sounding station we can. Give now through December 31st, and we'll count you in. You can just look for the Cornerstone Broadcasting link at KELPradio.com or call 915-779-0016. And thank you from all of us at El Paso's Christian Station, KELP.
915.
Testify.
Probably 2011, I was going through a really rough patch in my life at that point for like 2 years. And at that point, I was out living on my own. Even though I was married, we were separated for like 2 years, just me and the dog. It's kind of funny sometimes when you're off by yourself and you realize just me and the dog, nobody else to turn to. You start turning to the Lord. I've messed up here. How do I fix this? Through trying to find some hope in the situation at that point that seemed hopeless. And it's especially the parts that I waited patiently for the Lord, like I told you earlier. I think you could take the patiently out of there I waited. I was not always patient, but the Lord works on His time, not on mine. And He did. He brought me up out of the pit of destruction and out of the miry clay, which He did. He brought me up out of a lot of stuff, got a life turned back around, saved a lot of things in my life besides just me. I'm Keith Terrell, and if Jesus did this for me, He can do the same thing for you.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
And by the word of their testimony.
desertvoice.media.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you're listening to 915 Talk. I'm your host, Andy Frecka. Today we're with our good friends. Actually, Mac Daddy Del Norte said they're family. Jonathan and Drew from Truvize Financial Planning. Always enjoy these conversations. And it did strike me during the break that this kind of conversation can be uncomfortable, awkward, but it is important.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of financial planning conversations are that way.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's why we joke that half our job is marriage counseling because these are all conversations that are difficult to have, especially with your spouse. But if you don't have them, you're going to have a much more difficult conversation down the road.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. I love that. And so I do hope that our listeners are allowing a little bit of pain in their lives by listening to this conversation because it is helpful. And also, we were talking before the break about how we can put expectations on ourselves when we're invited to a holiday party to buy a gift we can't actually afford. The statistic you mentioned was 75% of gifts this year are paid through credit or buy now, pay later. And maybe it's also important for us to remind ourselves if we're hosting a party to not make it about the gifts. So that's the other side of that.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's agreed.
So what are some of the other year-end mistakes that you see?
Well, going back to what we just said about having the conversations with your spouse,
Sure.
it's not having the conversation. So it's especially when you see it a lot when either both spouses work or one is primarily at work and the other one is buying the gifts, not really talking about how much we're going to spend and what we're going to buy for the kids, the family, etc. And then you get surprised by how much was spent. It's really not. Yes, it can be awkward, but I think you'd be surprised of just going to your spouse, right, again, it's December 8th. Sometimes people have already spent the money for Black Friday, but for all of us procrastinators that haven't bought the gifts yet, it actually isn't that hard to go and say, hey, honey, why don't we talk about how much we want to spend on each of the kids, on our family, what do we want, and have that conversation. You guys come to an agreement together.
Right.
Another good thing, it can help teach your kids too, of you may have a list of 10 things you want, but you don't always get the 10 things. What's the most important things?
Sure.
Or what's the 2 things? You can start teaching your kids some of those lessons too of money doesn't just grow on trees and you can't just choose all the things you want. Sometimes you're going to have to prioritize some things, and the other things, it's all right.
Yeah. Well, as the dad, I always enjoy Christmas morning because it's a surprise for me to get to know what my kids are getting for Christmas.
That's right.
Don't encourage my wife in that thought process.
Well,
she feels the same way.
No, actually, my wife and I go over everything, and then I immediately forget. And so I'm like blown away on Christmas morning as my kids are saying thank you to me.
That's great.
But the other thought that's coming to my mind about this conversation can be, as you're saying, maybe one of the spouses is out there working, the other's out buying. And what I've found with my wife and I is we decide we want to get something for the kids, for example, and the price point isn't where it needs to be. And so we, as a team, begin to look for a deal.
That's great.
Let's try to reach this end goal, but let's do this together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
At a budget that we can really afford.
Yes.
So have that talk with your spouse. And the other one that's coming to mind is each spouse secretly wants to spend more money than the other spouse. And so have that conversation. Like
we set expectations.
We tell people this all the time. Most of the time with a couple, there's a saver and a spender. Most of the time.
Yeah.
When you have 2 savers I mean, that's great. You
It's
could be kind of boring.
Just kidding.
When you have two,
But also really peaceful.
Yeah.
two spenders could be a problem, but most of the time there's a saver, there's a spender, there's a little give and take there. It's part of the reason why the conversation's good.
Right.
Both can influence each other a little
Sure.
bit, and you come to a good, middle point.
Love it. We're talking about year-end financial mistakes. We will get into New Year's resolutions, but right now we have Charlie 1 on the phone. Charlie 1, what are you seeing out on the roads this afternoon? Oh. Charlie 1, today we're with Jonathan and Drew of Truvize Financial Planning, and we're talking about the mistakes people make at the year end, just spending too much money on gifts. And I was just throwing out this idea that what some people can do for gift is take someone else out to eat. And there's one gift that truly would show the heart of this Christmas season, and that would be treating someone to a bowl of menudo. Where would you recommend that they go to treat their friend or loved one to that bowl of menudo?
And the thing about it also is that it's not going to cost them a lot. I mean, this is very modestly priced because it's prepared. It's already prepared. You don't have to cook the steak out and that stuff. But it's at Mi Burrito Cafe, 3120 Traywood. Just put the oregano, onions on it, and they really love it. Especially a lot of people come from out of town for Christmas and everything, so they're going to love that.
Yes.
And there's very few places in El Paso that make that real delicious menudo. That place, Mi Burrito Cafe, 3120 Traywood.
Thank you, Charlie 1. We'll talk soon.
You bet.
And we're back with Jonathan and Drew of Truvize Financial Planning. The website is truvize.com. And you're here in El Paso. Phone number is 915-502-0096 for Truvize Financial Planning. Before we continue the conversation, maybe just give a 30-second, I don't know, from the air, what is Truvize Financial Planning? What are you offering?
Yeah, so we do financial planning with a focus primarily on tax planning for business owners.
Okay.
We also help highly compensated individuals who are dealing with complex compensation structures, benefits at work, more advanced stock plans and retirement plans, and just help. The goal, what it comes down to, is to help simplify things, to help clients be able to be organized in their finances, and ultimately pay less in taxes.
Yes.
Right. Legally?
Yes, legally, of course.
No car washes involved.
No.
That's funny.
We do not launder money.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, Truvize, Jonathan and Drew, TRUVIZE.com. And we had one more mistake, I believe. So we talked about don't do the buy now, pay later. We talked about talk with your spouse. It's a mistake to just do it on your own and then be surprised at the bill that comes in January. What was our other mistake for the year end?
The last one was leading into our New Year's resolutions, which is what we do with almost anything that ends up being a resolution in January. And that's just one more time, next year will be different.
One more piece of pie.
Yeah. So that's what I tell myself during that Thanksgiving break. Exactly what you said,
Yep.
Drew. Just one more piece of pie, and it's a half a piece. It's a half piece of. I do the thing where it's a half a pecan piece and half of a pumpkin pie piece, which is not the same number of calories as a full piece of pie. I've learned.
Somehow
in my
it doesn't-
mind.
Yeah. It's really half.
But I'm sure I'm not going to have a piece of pie after dinner again. That would be ridiculous.
Of course not. No pecan ice cream on top.
No, I cannot believe you did that to me, Mac Daddy Del Norte. You told me about the pecan ice cream.
I can't believe you never heard of that. Is the thing?
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of it either,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Oh,
so.
thank you. Thank you.
It's a little bit of a more southern thing too, and usually the pecan pie is warm, just like the apple pie a la mode.
But wait a
So-
minute. I thought he
it's-
said he had
it's
apple
money.
pie with the ice cream
I-
scoop
I-
on it.
That's what he does.
Yes.
But you had the
The
pecan,
pecan
with
pie's
pe-
done the same way.
with pecan
ice cream.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that.
Bro,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
we
crazy.
do the vanilla ice cream in our house on top of every type of pie.
Okay.
Yeah, it works great.
Don't discriminate.
All right. So you're saying the mistake is saying, last time I promise I can quit anytime, but I just need this one more dose of Christmas gifts.
Yes. And again, the point is because just how we are, human nature, it will not be the last. Next Christmas will be the same. So, and again, we're early enough in December. You can have those conversations. You
Sure.
can make a change now. We're not talking about no presents, no nothing, no spending.
Yeah.
But just plan for it, make a number, set a number and stick to it.
Yeah.
And that will help you so much to start getting into the habit of doing that every year. So
Right.
it doesn't just turn into we buy whatever we want, we'll think about it in January. That's next year me's problem and not my problem. That's kind of I think the main point of all of these mistakes is just kicking the can down the road and saying that this isn't really something I'm going to be worrying about.
Right.
Now I'll worry about it next year.
Future me will worry about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the fact. The future you will definitely worry about
Yes.
this.
Yes.
They are the same person.
think, for the sake of that person, right?
Yeah,
And it's all
exactly.
behavior. If you recognize this is behavioral, and so sometimes we have to actually do things that may not be financially harmful. We refrain from doing things that may not be financially harmful just for the sake of behavior.
Yeah.
And that we don't want to encourage certain behaviors with ourselves. And it all comes down to humility. We have
Yeah.
to take really good looks at ourselves and be humble enough, especially with our spouses, to sit down and have those conversations, say, I'm not good at this. I need to do better with this. And then as Christians, we lay that before the Lord, we pray about it and we act,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
so,
but be humble enough to know that you cannot get your spouse the Rolls Royce-a-thon year-end Christmas gift.
Yep.
unless it's on the Rio Grande auction.com.
That's hilarious. All right, so we talked about a lot of these mistakes that happen at year-end, and I do hope that through this conversation, some of our listeners are like, you know what? There's a party coming up. I don't need to go crazy.
Yeah.
I can just do something that's very reasonable, or maybe have a hard conversation. Hey, I want to be there. I'll be with you, and you're getting a card, or whatever the case would be.
Yes.
But now let's talk about New Year's resolutions.
So we have a list of some things we'll go through and talk about, but I think one thing that is really important is having monthly conversations with your spouse, or somebody that can hold you accountable too. Of the same way when we think about in other things that we're trying to get better at, is not just saying, okay, January's come along, I'm going to make this goal, but it's just going to be me in my head making this goal. You are setting yourself up for no chance. You have no chance. You need to talk to somebody and say, hey, let's talk again in February. Let's see how it went. Let's talk again in March and let's see how it went. And just that little bit of taking 10, 15 minutes every month to just go back and look at how you did, I guarantee you will do better than if you just make a resolution in January and then you kind of forget about it and we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Right. Okay, so the New Year's resolution, what I understand is that I'm going to decide that my wife and I are going to have monthly financial meetings.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
simple.
You know what? Make them fun too. Like, don't, it's only 15 minutes, but maybe it's over dinner or something you both enjoy doing,
Okay.
Those are the little tricks you can trick yourself into doing so that you can get done what really matters,
Right.
So it doesn't have to be this boring,
Over a
dreaded
bowl of
thing.
menudo.
You know what? And I know a
Neighbor
place.
That's right.
And you don't have to wait for the weekend
Yeah,
either.
that's right.
So
I'm just throwing out ads all over.
we got you. Right? No, but it doesn't have to be some sort of daunting thing. I think that if you say, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to discuss every expense that we had over the last 30 days, and we're going to critique each other's spending, and then we're going to, it's not going to work. Keep it
Right.
simple. And I think that fits into the next thing that's on the list, which is just pick one money goal for the first 3 months of the year.
Okay. So what would some examples be?
Go ahead.
Say we want to save, I don't know, pick a number.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
By the end of the
Yes.
third month.
we want our...
By the end of March, we want to have
This much in
$1,000
savings.
saved, X amount saved,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Or so that's one example. Or we want to spend less in these first 3 months on eating out than we did in the last 3 months eating out. How much? Just less.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so an attainable goal that has a specific number.
Yeah.
Because that's the other issue with resolutions is I want to lose weight. That's not a real goal.
Right.
I want to start reading my Bible more. Not a real goal.
Sure.
You need to set a specific amount,
Measurable.
a specific
Yeah.
time frame, right?
Yeah.
Specific, measurable, attainable.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the thing with this one goal thing is don't make it into we need to change our financial lives and we put together all. Not gonna happen.
No.
Yeah.
Pick one specific, measurable, and attainable goal that both you and your spouse will work together on that you're happy to do.
Yeah.
And then by the end of March, you can accomplish that goal. And I guarantee you that'll help snowball what then, okay, let's make a goal for the next quarter.
Okay.
And by
Yeah.
the time we have this conversation again in December, you would have already accomplished 3 real goals and on your way to the 4th goal.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I like that because the goals you're describing seem I don't know if fun's the word, but interesting to like how can we make this happen?
Yeah.
Also, when you think of well, we're not going to spend as much on eating out. Well, we know we're going to still eat out.
Right.
So what would be some examples of places that would be fun to go to that don't cost as much money? Things like that.
And it's so interesting too, because when you do these exercises, you find that when you're spending less trips eating out, all of a sudden they're more enjoyable trips because you're not racking your brain because you ate out already so many times this week.
Yes.
And now it's like, oh man, we're really going to go to insert sponsor here.
Yeah.
We're going to go to this restaurant that we really enjoy. And you tend to enjoy those things much more when they're not just constantly being partaken in. So-
Right. Okay, so we're getting together once a month with our spouse. We're setting quarterly goals that are attainable. We're not going to cut our spending in half.
Right.
But you're saying focus on one specific thing at a time.
Yes, because that not only will that focus you on that specific goal, but it keeps you from being distracted from 10 things that'll overwhelm you. The issue with making any change in a difficult part of your life is once you get overwhelmed, it's very easy to become discouraged, and then you just cast it off and we're going to move on to something else.
Right.
But if you can focus on one specific thing, then, and both of you together holding each other accountable, and especially if it's attainable, then you'll start to build momentum. And you can still get to the same end goal of having the 4, 5, 6 different, but doing it individually and working your way is much more attainable.
Sure. Okay, love it. So we're going to get together once a month. That's what we're going to do, my wife and I. What are some of the other New Year's resolutions?
Well, one of the things that you can set as your goal is one of these other items that we have, and that's start automating what can be automated.
Okay.
You give yourself the best chance of success with your finances, the less work you have to do.
Yes.
So anything that can be automated, whether it comes to savings, especially savings, whether that's putting money into an emergency fund for a certain amount or for Christmas gifts later in the year. Great time to start saving for Christmas is January of the beginning of the year. So, or if it's, paying down certain debts, but automating all of that so that it happens automatically every month can really help you when you're dealing with how much you're spending. Because if it's all automated, then you know that, hey, what's left over is available for us to enjoy. And it gives you just that freedom to not have to be worrying about sitting down in front of your computer for hours on end, trying to balance things out and do things that can just be set up to pay automatically.
Yeah.
It's part of the way that we, a lot of times when we're talking to a specific client, and let's say, budgeting is not something they've thought about for many years because they have significant income. They're not going to be looking at every dollar.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that we don't need to have a cash flow plan. So the way that we like to do it is exactly what Drew's talking about, automating, and it's called reverse budgeting, and automating all the things we need to spend, how we're going to max out this retirement plan and this investment account and this, and this, so that everything that's left, spend it.
Yeah.
Because we already have plans for the rest of the money going. Yeah. So that can apply to people with a large amount of income or people with a smaller income of saying, I want to automate what's the goal we want to try to hit and how do we make that an automatic thing. Yeah. Well, so me personally, something we started doing a few years ago, we're still doing, and I've loved and I want to keep doing because it takes some of the stress off, is picking the Christmas and gift budget and whatever's going to be spent, and then divide that number out by 52, and you send that number to a separate account every week. Okay. If you think about just math-wise, if you send $25 a week to this separate account, you have $1,300 to spend for Christmas without really ever thinking about it. Sure. You come to December, you got your $1,300, and you could start splitting that out among family and friends and all these other things.
Sure.
Without one, it beats the issues we were having earlier, which is spending too much, not planning for what you want to spend. It's already done. We have our money we're going to spend, and this is our budget.
Right.
And then two, it takes the stress off. How am I going to pay for all this? You already did throughout the whole year. And you pick a number that, again, maybe going out to eat one time or not getting lunch out twice. Yeah. Nowadays, it's $20 to go to Chipotle or whatever. But,
Subway. Crazy.
But yeah, $25 a week, you can get well over $1,000 to spend later on, and it's automated.
Yeah. So when you say automated, I heard actually two different things, and I think it's great to have your bills automated.
Oh, for sure.
Because particularly with things like utilities, then you're not getting behind on it.
Yes.
That's right.
Which is, I think, is a temptation if you're just living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
And then if you have margin in your life, then you're automating out to investment, retirement.
That's right.
Yes.
That
That's
kind
a
of
great
thing.
way to put
So it's both.
Yes.
Yes.
And so really what I heard you say is automation applies to everybody, regardless of how you're doing financially.
Absolutely.
And you can look at your full year, just have it going out, and you can relax.
Yes.
Because I think living paycheck to paycheck, if again you have that temptation to get behind, like, well, they're not going to turn off my lights or my water just quite yet, so I'm going to put it off a couple more weeks. But having it automated, you just know you don't have that money, and you're not spending it on Christmas presents.
Yes. It's also going back to, we were talking about Christmas presents, but just what you said kind of rang a bell in my head for 1099 contractors and independent contractors that don't have their taxes taken out.
Yeah.
They, we have many conversations. Sometimes we're talking to somebody, it's July and it's August, and it's, okay, how much have you set aside how much have you made this year, and how much have you set aside for taxes?
Yeah.
And then they're saying they have this money in their account, and we have to go through and say, actually, no, that's not your money. That's already the IRS's money. And we need to have a set percentage that goes into a separate account all the time.
Absolutely.
That applies to all of these things we're saying. Is if it's just every 5th of the month or every Thursday of every week, you have a certain amount that goes out to your different goals. it will take so much stress off of your plate. Plus, it also helps you, like we said earlier, to say, okay, the money in my account I could spend on the other things up, because all of my goals and all the long-term savings accounts are already being funded.
And I'll tell you what, you come to December and you have the amount of money in your account that you want to spend. That feels just about as amazing as pecan pie with pecan ice cream on top.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a great sense of satisfaction. And it's such a small thing to just consistently save small bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
So that's
And,
good.
and nowadays, every major bank, every online bank, they give you the ability to set up automatic transfers.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yes.
difficult. Anyone
Right.
can go on there and do a weekly or monthly amount. Do the math. Right now, if have already spent most of your Christmas shopping money, or add it up and let's see what it really is. Then if it's too much, if you think you spent too much, pick a number that is reasonable for all the people that you want to help and you want to give to, and then divide that out monthly or weekly.
Sure.
The reason I liked the weekly is just because it makes the number smaller, and
Yeah.
it's easier to digest. You don't feel it as much, and then start automating that out.
Well, what's crossing my mind is if I have this account and I'm putting $25 a week, $100 a month into Christmas presents, when it gets to December, I'm not going to spend more than that.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And isn't it interesting that you're kind of turning the psychology to your benefit from the buy now, pay later? It's like, hey, $1,200 or
That's exactly
$100 a month.
exactly
And it hurts you in that instance, right? Because it sounds so cheap. I'm going to spend the $1,200. But in this case, that same psychology works for your benefit because it's only $25 a week.
Right.
And by the end, guess what? It's $1,200.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Love it. Okay, so we're getting into the new year on the right foot. We had our pecan pie with our pecan ice cream on top, but now we're on the exercise bike. What do we need to do financially?
So another one, we're kind of skipping around on this list, but another one that I think is good is eliminating one subscription every month for the first 3 months.
Oh, one subscription a month for the first 3 months.
So sometimes it's tough when, especially all these different streaming services and all these others, it's like, gosh, I do like this one show on this one, but getting rid of all of pick one and get rid of it in January.
I feel
Pick
like we
another
need
in
to talk about
February,
Monday
another in
Night
March.
Football right now, but we're not going to.
we definitely don't cancel NFL tickets.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, obviously, it doesn't say cancel it. All the other ones.
We were talking about your wife's subscription.
Yeah, exactly. Cancel 3 of your wife's subscriptions in the first 3 months.
Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Whatever it
Well,
is.
there's this whole thing of like, does this product or this service spark enough joy in my life, true
right.
joy,
Yeah.
that it's worth this number?
Right.
You know, and it's exactly what you're saying. We have this big subscription, and it's only for this one little thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know,
usually.
And you could even tie it into the previous goal. Cancel the subscription, take that amount of money and put it in the savings account for Christmas on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
Disney Plus almost, right?
For
$25.
For
Well,
sure.
not $100, but you're getting closer.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So one subscription a month. I see MacDaddy Del Norte is thinking through his subscriptions right now. But one thing that with subscriptions, and I think we've talked about this before, but here at the station, so many things have become subscription, and as we modernized, we need to get these subscriptions.
Right.
But what every one of them does is you start off either for free or for a very discounted rate for the first few months. So what the requirement is if we're sure we have to do it, we have reminders on all of our calendars to review
Yeah.
before the number bumps up
Yep.
and becomes the real number. We have to review and see, is this really producing the result that we hope for, that we expected at the beginning, or do we need to look for another service? And we were looking at one just today, and it was 3 months. And so I said, okay, 2.5 months from now, that's on the calendar. The reminder pops up.
Yeah.
We have a meeting, we review everything. because how many subscriptions that we just don't even remember why we signed up in the beginning.
And that can just be 2 minutes or a minute of that 15-minute check-in you have with your spouse.
Sure.
And that accountability every month. Just, hey, subscriptions. That's one of the line items.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left. It looks like we're missing a lot on the list. What else do we need to hit?
Well, I think it's good to do a January financial cleanup, right? We talked about that a bit. Go through, check your passwords, your beneficiaries on your policies.
Yes.
We talked about that a little bit last time. Your logins, your accounts. And you know what's a really good one? And this can be one of those quarterly goals that we talk about, is just make a list of all of your accounts. And make sure that the people that are important, if anything were to happen, have access to that information.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times we run into a scenario where somebody unexpectedly passes away and nobody can access their things.
Sure.
They can't get in their phone.
Yeah.
They don't know where their money is.
Yeah.
So those are good things to do, is just to go take a financial checkup and make sure all your passwords, your beneficiaries, you got a good list there. And what does that take? Maybe 45 minutes?
Yeah, and I think that may not be a resolution, but what that can be for everybody listening, because everybody needs to confirm this and make sure this is done, is let that be the first thing you do in January.
Right.
So you already have, mark it down that first week. I'm going to take 45 minutes. I'm going to go in and I'm going to make sure I know who all my beneficiaries are, that everything is updated, and that someone in my house knows where all the logins, passwords, etc. of all the accounts are, so that there's just some peace of mind there. Because like Drew said, yes, it is a regular occurrence that when we're meeting with a widow or somebody who was responsible for the money of a family member, and then the headaches and the stress and the difficulty of finding things, you're just adding a whole other level of stress to someone who is already dealing with a tough time. So take care of that. The other thing is, if you don't have a will, if you haven't taken care of any, January, good time. Get it done so it can get checked off the list.
Yeah, we do have in plans next year to have a probate attorney come on the show and be talking about a lot of these things.
That's awesome.
But there's so many things that can be avoided, expense that can be avoided,
just proactively.
And it does require humility to just say, hey, everyone, here's the box.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's the theme going into next year, is doing well with your finances requires humility.
Yeah.
You got to be honest with yourself. You have to look at things realistically. And if you're not willing to be resolved next year, if you're struggling with that now, to do that, you're not going to find yourself in a different position come 12 months later.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan and Drew, always appreciate these conversations.
Yeah, always fun.
We've been with Jonathan and Drew. They're with Truvize Financial Planning, Truvize.com. It's TRUVIZE.com. They're right here in El Paso. And as I always say, when you come on, you truly, I can tell you enjoy your job. You're passionate about it and really just helping people out, providing some accountability, but also some thoughts and ideas, some eyeballs on their situation. And I hope that our listeners, particularly those who are in the business space, will have the humility to reach out to Truvize or whoever it might be. But let's have the humility to ask for help, to get some input into our lives and not only depend on ourselves. So TRUVIZE.com, 915-502-0096 is the phone number. As we always say, let's learn to love our city, love our neighbor, and give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk. You have been listening to 915 Talk, a production of Desert Voice Media. In order to listen to previous editions of 915 Talk, just visit desertvoice.media. Let's learn together to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory.